Hello, my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and tonight we're speaking with drummer Jeff Clavardini. And Jeff, you're the drummer. Clavardini. Okay, thanks for correcting me there. And you're the drummer from the Los Angeles-based Scorpions tribute band Lovedrive. How you doing tonight, Jeff?
Hey, pretty good. Thanks for having me on Rock Zone tonight.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Now, I guess the best question to start off with, Jeff, is if you could share with us how you first got into the music of the Scorpions.
Oh, this goes all the way back to high school. Back in the '80s. I'm gonna tell you my age here.
Yeah, that's all right.
Back in high school, just all over the radio, and I was able to see these guys at the US Festival in 1983. So, ever since I saw them live, I was just really blown away by their musicianship and just how they had so much energy up on stage.
Yeah,
and, from there on, I was just a fan for life.
Yeah, now let me ask you. The Scorpions, of course. I guess you said you grew up kind of in the '80s, but once you became a Scorpions fan, did you go back and listen to any of the earlier stuff that they'd done, like with Uli John Roth?
Yeah, I sure did. I really appreciated. Was it In Trance, Fly to the Rainbow? That stuff was very amazing when I heard it. I was still a fan. I know, through like '79 up to 2007 or so, it's they obviously had Matthias Jobs, but a lot more melodic, a lot more riffing. But I loved Uli John Roth. I thought it was amazing when I heard him.
It's all Scorpions, as you say, but it's almost like two different bands. But like I said, it's all Scorpions music. Now, how old were you when you started playing the drums? I was curious.
Yeah, I think I was around, I want to say like 14 or 15. I was still pretty young, still in junior high.
And would you consider yourself a self-taught player, or did you take any lessons?
No, definitely a self-taught player. Every time I heard a metal song or a hard rock song on FM radio back in the day, I was always just doing the beat. I don't want to say air drums, but just kind of tapping along wherever I was. And I always thought to myself, I should just get me a drum set because I think I'm going to do pretty good at it. So, I ended up getting a Tama, like a white rock star, and got it for real cheap. Someone was getting rid of it at a yard sale, so I was able to acquire that. And from there on, I've always played.
And you happen to remember what was the first song you ever learned to play on your drums?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think it was. I think it's "I Love It Loud" by Kiss.
Oh, cool. Another great classic band. Now, most people might be curious why. I assume, like a lot of working musicians, you did your own original thing for years. But what made you finally decide to go the route of a tribute band rather than continuing on with trying to do your own original music?
Yeah, that's a good question. And getting back to that, I did have a couple original bands before the Lovedrive Scorpions tribute came about. There was just a point where I've done the music scene pretty much all around LA and Orange County as an original band, and I enjoyed it. Obviously I do it for the love of the music, but I just felt like I wanted to have a little bit more fun. So the tribute scene kind of came alive, I would say, within the last 2 years. It really came alive. But, before then, I was always thinking about doing a tribute. So it just so happens Scorpions was just on my list, for must tries, because they had so many great hits, whether they were all played on the radio or just the whole album B-sides. They're just so amazing. So, that's kind of where my head was at. And I was fortunate enough to get some great band members through some musicians' friends of some other bands, and we all just kind of, I kind of came to the table and I said, here's what I want to do. You guys want to be involved? And everybody was on board. And luckily, I found a really, really great, amazing singer, and we're actually a female-fronted band. So her name is Shannon.
Yeah.
She's unbelievable. She just hit the range of Klaus Meine, which almost to a T. I know it can't be exactly replicated, but she's almost the closest thing live as you can get.
Yeah.
And I heard her on a video. She actually was at a James Kotak concert. Whatever, I forgot the name of his band, Kotak Attack or something like that.
Yeah. Kodak, I think.
She actually was able to get up on stage and do "Rock You Like a Hurricane" with those guys, and I saw the video and I was like, holy crap, I gotta get a hold of this girl.
Yeah,
So that's kind of where it all really came into fruition right there. I was like, all right, well, we got all the key players. Let's make this thing happen.
And it's kind of interesting to find out that Lovedrive is actually, a band that you put together, in the sense that, most of the time when people think of drummers, they think of a guy who just sits in the back of the stage and keeps a beat. But, the Scorpions also is one of those bands that most people fail to realize, while you got Klaus and Rudolph running the band, that like Herman Rehberg, the original drummer, he wrote a lot of the lyrics to, a lot of the hit songs, and because he was the one guy.
He had a big part in their writing process.
Because he was the one guy that spoke the best English, I guess, from what I've heard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it blows you away. These guys are full-on Germans, and when when Klaus was singing the songs, you would never even know, with just the exception of a little accent. But other than that, yeah, he had a lot to do with that at the time.
And you mentioned James Kodak. He's a guy I've had the privilege of interviewing a couple times, and he's really a super friendly guy, and he's equally as talented, as Herman, because he's a great drummer, and he's played with many great bands, including the Scorpions over the years. Like you were mentioning, he's got his own soul band where he's actually the front man. He calls it, I think, Kodak. He sings and plays guitar and writes all the stuff.
Great vocalist, great backup vocals as well while he's playing. Just pretty amazing musician.
Yeah, and so I guess you kind of mentioned when you put Lovedrive together that you chose the name Lovedrive because I guess that's your favorite album.
Yeah, it really was, and we could have called it a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
It could have been the Zoo. It could have been Blackout, but I believe there was a Blackout at the time.
Yeah.
I don't really want to step on anybody's toes.
Yeah.
And it kind of turns out, as for Lovedrive, I believe there might be one or two more across the country. And I know that even Michael Schenker got a group together and did Lovedrive.
Yeah.
So, we weren't really fully aware of that at the time. We just kind of had an idea. We all agreed on the name. We thought it was going to fit pretty well.
Yeah, and
we just kind of went full force. And, we didn't really, I guess at the time, we just really didn't look around to see, like, what else was going on for a Scorpions type of a tribute. So we just kind of, we knew what we wanted to do. We loved the music. Got some great people together. And from there on, we just went ahead and went full steam on it.
Well, I mean,
it just became Lovedrive, so that's kind of what we're,
I gotta tell you, I think obviously that's a great name for the simple fact that, like you said, you could have called it like, the Zoo or any number of other songs, but
Alien Nation was like another choice we were kind of throwing back and forth.
But Lovedrive,
killer song, fun to do live. We love doing that song live,
but
Lovedrive just works for us. So.
Lovedrive, that's what I was going to say. Kind of sticks out. Anybody that's ever heard of a Scorpion, I mean, that's one of the classic albums they hold up. So anybody that's Scorpions fans, they're going to know what it is. And that's the thing with being in a tribute band, is when you get people coming to your show, they kind of have you got a built-in fan base in the sense that people know what they're going to hear. So
that's true.
So let me ask you, like when you found this singer, like you said, you weren't probably even thinking about, I'm going to try to get a female singer, but what was that like when you just came across, the singer that was just so talented?
Yeah, whether she's whether she was a female or a male, whatever, a guy or a girl at the time, whatever I heard on the video feed was enough to just make me really excited about getting her into the band and really knowing that this thing is going to make it. Because we really, just going back to our sound real quick, we really strive to sound just like the album tracks, because that's what people go to the shows, that's what's in their mind from years ago, being nostalgic or whatever, but, they come to a show and they want to hear exactly what's still in their mind from back in the day of exactly how that song sounds. So that's what I really excited about our lineup, because we all really do replicate the exact sound as much as we can possibly do at a live performance. So that's why I'm really excited about it, because if you want to really hear that live, then come on out to one of our shows, because this is we're really happy with it.
Yeah, and again, that might, typically you might think that'd be a very hard thing to do, not just in that she's a female singer, but again, like Klaus, like you said, he's got that heavy German accent, and so you got that you're working with too. But again, this material you're covering is, they're great. They're all really great classic songs, and so if you get the right group of people together, you can put on a dynamite show.
Exactly.
And let me ask you, once Lovedrive got going, were you, being a guy that's been a working musician all his life, were you surprised when you seen the kind of success that you could have doing this? Whereas, like, if you were still doing your own original music, it might take 6 to 7 years to maybe even have your first breakout hit.
Yeah, I actually did. I wasn't really fully surprised on how the reception was going to be. I was more surprised on how fast we became, kind of in the scene, I should say.
Yeah.
And that was just more of a being blown away by that. Like, this band's only been around for almost 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in January of 2015.
And let me ask you,
Yes.
Let me ask you, Jeff. Are you surprised? Because I think one thing you guys got going for yourself right now, even back to when you first formed the band, is at that time, like today, the only other Scorpions tribute in this area that I can think of is the one you were mentioning, Blackout. And I think that's one thing you guys got going, that you don't have a hundred of Scorpion tributes out here like you do AC/DC and Led Zeppelin tributes.
Exactly, and Motley Crue, GNR.
Yeah.
As much as there's some killer bands out there that really do well at that, it is kind of a saturated band to cover. So yeah, fortunately, it seems like we picked the right band at this time.
Hey, let me ask you, what do you think about Scorpions toying with the idea of retiring? A couple of years ago, they went on what was supposedly their farewell tour. Now they're saying that they're not so sure they want to retire.
Yeah, that's kind of a touchy subject with me, because I love what they do no matter what they're doing and how old they are. I had the pleasure of seeing that tour a couple of years ago here in Ontario, California, over at Citizens Bank Arena.
Yeah.
And that was supposedly their final Sting tour. So we were able to go see that, and they really, really impressed me still. I mean, being a much older band, and they just delivered big time. As for them retiring, I really don't want them to ever go away, but then again, you might get to a point where if you listen to really early Scorpions tracks, there's so much energy and drive in a lot of their earlier songs, even like the earlier 80s songs. And, as long as they can still keep that fire, I mean, I think they could probably still keep on going as long as they can. I'm not saying they're running out of steam, but I as a band, they are, obviously they're aging.
Yeah.
So, that just kind of comes with the territory of being such a great, big band, But, I mean, I hope they never go away. I hope they have another 10 years in them, for all I care.
Yeah, I hear you. And now, let me ask you, why do you think there aren't more Scorpion tributes around? Do you think it's just because of the fact that they're still doing it?
It might just be the vocal, capacity of some singers that are trying to do this. There's not a lot of Klaus Mines out there.
Yeah.
And if you find someone that's similar to that, go ahead and snatch them up, because they're not on every corner. They're very hard to find. And when I got Shannon into the band, I told her, I said, you're like my diamond in the rough. We're gonna do some great things with you, and that's kind of what's going on.
And let me ask you, when you first found Shannon, how did the other guys in the band react? Were they kind of like, a girl in the band, or was there any of that, or did they just?
They were all pretty receptive, actually.
That's pretty cool.
Because once again, they also were sold by her vocal capabilities. So as soon as they heard her sing at the rehearsal, we all looked at each other. We didn't even have to say yes. We already knew it was gonna, that she was gonna be in the band.
Yeah.
So they didn't give me any kind of slack at all for having a female in the band.
Well, I think that's smart on their part, because to have a project like this, it's very important that everybody's on board, and that you do what's best for the band. Because I gotta tell you, just looking at the pictures on your Facebook, I did kind of do a double take, because I was reading the information, names of the members of the band, and I had to take a double take at the singer. Like, oh wait a minute, that is a female, and the only and it's not an insult towards her, but it's that she looks so much like Klaus Mann in the picture, from back in the day.
It is very true. She's got a lot of mannerisms away from the stage too they're pretty similar. Because I've seen some other interviews with Klaus, and I've seen some backstage interviews, and she kind of has the same mannerisms, which kind of makes it cool.
Yeah, and
adds a little bit more to it.
Yeah, and I'm just talking about like the costume and everything, which is a very important thing to me because I've seen several tribute bands myself, and one thing I enjoy is like do like what you guys do. It's more of an four guys and a gal on stage in their jeans and t-shirts just strumming the guitars. You guys are like, if I imagine if I go see Lovedrive, you're gonna take me back to the first time I ever seen the Scorpions. Take me back to my teenage years, and and that's a great thing you can do for your audience.
Yes.
And that's what makes these tribute shows so enjoyable to me.
Yes, I definitely agree. And there's some really, really great tributes out there. And yeah, I'm just going back to our look. I mean, if you look at Shannon, she's more like the younger version of Klaus.
Oh yeah.
Kind of versus the later Klaus now. But that's kind of what's unique about the band. We have Justin on rhythm guitar, and I don't know if you've seen some of the photos, but what actually, I made him a blackout, one of those psycho guy masks, with the bandage on the head with the forks in the eyes.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like that's obviously a shout out to the Blackout album, and just the crowd eats that up when he comes out there and looks like that. So to kind of have like a younger image, me, Shannon, and Justin, and then Mark, our lead guitarist, he's more like the newer, or I should say the latest edition of Matthias Jobs, just the way he, I guess his stage wear and just the way he kind of carries himself up on stage. Obviously, we can't do the bicycle kicks or anything like that, or run up the amps, but that's kind of what we're what Mark's kind of replicating right now, and as well as Mike, and he's kind of like the older Francis Buchholz. So it's a nice little combination of of genres or the years, I guess I should say.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, Jeff, one reason I started doing these interviews with guys like yourselves that play in the tribute bands is because a lot of people I've talked to, they have this huge misconception about tribute bands. I don't know if you're aware of this, which is that a lot of people believe, guys that play in tribute bands or musicians playing tribute bands, they're failed musicians. They couldn't make it doing their own original thing. But like we've been talking, that's really not the case. And one thing people got to realize, I mean, even like we're talking just about the costumes and how you perform the songs on stage and trying to play the exact same type of instruments. There's a lot of homework and detail that goes into what you guys do.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I had a call coming in, so I missed the last part of that.
Well, I was saying,
you were just comparing just the detail that was put into the
well,
stage.
I mean, like even looking at your photos, I can tell that again. We're not talking about a band where it's just just the band members up on stage playing in jeans and t-shirts. I mean,
right.
You take the time. I can tell just in looking at your photos and how you guys dress, but you're trying to look the part. You're trying to, your costumes. They look like stuff the Scorpions would wear.
Yes, definitely. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, we really do. We do analyze their, the photos from the past and kind of mix them in with the future folders as they're still touring. So yeah, we really. I'm glad you. I appreciate you that you said that because like even my drums, I kind of I wrapped them with a chrome material just to kind of bring back that 80s vibe, that big arena drum look. So. Yeah, thanks for seeing that.
Yeah, because again, like people fail to realize all the hard work and dedication. I mean, you yourself in talking, I can hear that you're a Scorpions fan. So, you're kind of one of the guys in the audience, as they say. You jumped up on stage with your sticks, and you got your other band members up there with you, and you're continuing the Scorpions legacy by playing this music.
Exactly, and we're having so much fun, and we enjoy it. We put a lot of pride into our work. We're really trying to be the best replication out there, the best tribute to the Scorpions, and that's kind of what we're shooting for in the coming years.
And I was curious, as far as your drum style, do you have a preference as far as Herman Rarebell or James Kodak?
Yeah, that's interesting. As I'm playing these songs, I really go more towards the Rarebell style because he's a little more simplified, a little more, foot to the pedal, just a steadier beat. But it's a tough situation because James Kotak is such an amazing fluid drummer. He's got so many fills that are just amazing. He's an amazing timekeeper himself. But I guess for the most part of the songs that we are playing on our set list, it's more towards the Herman Rarebell style. Is what I guess I have more fun with.
And they kind of each guy kind of brings something different to the into the band. But I was curious, like when you're playing the songs in concert, do you try to put your own flavor as far as your drum style into the songs, or you try to keep it as true to how Herman or James played them in the original songs?
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good question. As being an original band drummer from the past, I would love to just do some different fills and rolls, but you know what? I just keep it the same as it was on the album.
Okay.
And like when we do the Zoo Live, and that's one of our really big crowd pleasers, I actually do a little bit different China Splash hit here and there, just kind of like a more of a live vibe, because I've seen Herman do that with some China accents, and James Kotak does that as well. So I do kind of add that in. And I know it's not like a technical crazy style or anything, but I do a little bit different flares here and there. But for the most part, I'm really trying to replicate the drums as closely as possible to the album track.
Oh, cool. And so like when you do the Zoo and Rock You Like a Hurricane, I imagine those are usually like encore type songs.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yes, they are. We pretty much lately we've been ending with Big City Nights, but we try to switch out the set list a little bit because of the usual fans that come to all of our shows. We kind of think about them as well. I don't want to play the same old set list to these friends and fans of ours, because they're coming out and supporting us, and we kind of want to thank them for that. So we're kind of trying to switch up the set list for the most part. We have some House of Blues shows coming up, and we're going to most likely just put on just the best set possible, the best Scorpions live set possible for our fans, our new fans, and our existing fans. And
how hard is that to come up with a set list? Because obviously you gotta play songs like we were talking about, Lovedrive and Blackout, Big City Nights, stuff that everyone wants to hear. But
what happens is we all have really, really, really favorite our personal favorites, but what it gets down to, Jason, is it gets down to guitar changes. So most musicians out there will know what I'm talking about, but like me being a drummer, I'm like, oh yeah, let's just do the Zoo and then let's go into like Alienation. Well, obviously there's different guitar guitar tuning, so we have to kind of go with the flow, kind of depending on our set time, our set length, and we have to just kind of go with what's going to be easier to switch out for guitar changes. So a lot of times the ideal dream list won't really happen. It's just a matter of where we strategically place the songs that are going to be for the next guitar change.
And do you guys like ever throw in like the rare B-side or any deep cuts that maybe people aren't as aware of, say like Rock You Like a Hurricane and stuff like that?
Yeah, we really do. That's what I like about this band. We play Home, we play Holiday. We're actually rehearsing the Trance currently, in Trance, I'm sorry. And we do I'm Leaving You, which is on the Blackout album. So we do those B-sides that are just really some of our personal favorites, and the crowd actually really picks up on it and enjoys those songs.
And like the Scorpions is a great band to pay a tribute to, because like they got it really runs the gamut from Rock You Like a Hurricane to Wind of Change. So like when you guys perform Wind of Change, what kind of response do you guys get? Does the crowd just go wild?
Oh, they really do. And I personally enjoy doing that song because I get to do the backup vocals with Shannon. So well, luckily I think I can sing. I'm not a singer, but I think I do do pretty well with her. And the crowd really does receive it very, very well. I mean, after the show, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Wind of Change was just so beautiful." So, when we have fans that we just met that night and they're coming up to us and saying that, then obviously we know that we're doing the best job we can do with those songs.
Well, I got to tell you, you take bands like the Scorpions, Van Halen, even Rat. These are all bands that where the background vocal sound is just as important, as the lead vocal.
It really is, and on the studio albums, as you would know, it's Klaus pretty much doing his own backup vocals.
Yeah, it's just
so try to replicate those backing vocals.
Yeah, how hard is?
Not that easy, Yeah,
hard as that. Now, bringing up Rat, I actually recently had the pleasure of interviewing this band. I guess you guys recently done a show with called Body Talk. They're relatively new. They're just kind of starting to make their way into the scene. How did that show go, and what did you guys think of their performance?
Oh man, we were very impressed. We got to join the stage with them just a few weeks ago, and really, really cool guys. They really came with their game face on, because they were just they're already set up, ready to go. And when they came out, they were in full costume. I got to tell you, like half the band, if not more, they all looked like the original Rat members. From Robin Crosby to Warren DeMartini. So I thought that was really, really cool. And the lead singer did an excellent job on his stage presence, on addressing the crowd, and just really getting everybody involved in the show. And I thought it was really cool. And they did some pretty cool songs. They did Back for More. You Think You're Tough, all the earlier EP stuff that I was into when I was younger. And I was like, damn, this is really cool. So I really wish those guys the best of luck with their upcoming shows.
And let me ask you, because going back to Scorpions now, I got to ask you, what did you think about the Scorpions' latest release, which obviously was released, in January of this year, which was Scorpions Unplugged?
Yeah, that this is how can I answer that one? I got to tell you, I'm not a really big fan of acoustic music.
Yeah.
I mean, I should say like electric, like hard rock bands that are, I'm used to like hearing riffs of guitars. So I guess it's harder for me to really accept that, but because it's just hard, because I'm so used to the driving rock sound of those songs. But when I hear them really, really stripped down, to me it's just a little bit watered down. Yeah. But I'm not saying they didn't do a great performance. I thought musically they were amazing. They had the full other band backing them up, but I'm just more of the hard rock versions of those songs, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean,
Wind of Change was able to me, it sounded awesome. Yeah. They did, I know a couple acoustic albums back, they did Dust in the Wind, and man, that's such a great version of that song. That Klaus did with the rest of the band on there. I think it was their first acoustic show. It might have been Acoustica or something like that. Yeah. Dust in the Wind was just unbelievable. I was really blown away by that version.
I mean, the MTV Unplugged thing, I agree with a lot what you said, but I think for the Scorpions it was a great performance, and I tended to lean kind of towards they had a few new songs on there, like, but one that really stood out to me was called The Best Is Yet to Come. And
that is really a good song, yes. Yeah. I agree with that.
And so, would you guys ever consider like throwing any of those songs into the set?
Yes, we actually are working on Send Me an Angel, and we're just going to kind of strip it down and do an acoustic version of that, because obviously the studio album version has keyboards in it. Mm-hmm. So depending on where we're playing, I'm not really sure we can set up a keyboard on the side of the stage, but we've been talking about bringing that in as an acoustic version. I think that might go very well. And we can also throw in Holiday, an acoustic version of Holiday, because half the beginning of the song is acoustic anyways.
And I don't think...
I think we would actually... probably going to bring that into the set list too.
And I don't think people even realize, people think, playing acoustic, is just a matter of, not being plugged in. But, I mean, you really got to be on your game to be able to, play the acoustic versions, right?
Yeah, you sure do. You really have to know all your parts, like right down to the T, or else, everybody's going to hear... You'll definitely hear imperfections a lot quicker than just being plugged in. Any day. Yeah.
And I was curious, as far as Lovedrive, are you guys pretty much self-managed? Do you have people working with you, like as far as helping you to book the shows and all that?
You know what? That's all me. I actually do the full management, the full marketing. I do all the design work, and I am looking for a manager, though. I think it would be. I think we're at the point now where we would probably need and welcome in a manager if he's the right guy or girl. Yeah. Just to get those bigger venues that we've been shooting for the couple years.
Have you enjoyed having that extra role besides just being the drummer? Is that something you've enjoyed doing?
You know what? I do enjoy it. I really do. And it's fun when I get a really good contact, and I know that the band's gonna be happy when I give them the news. So that makes me feel really good because I really respect my band members, which are my friends, like a family. So,
Yeah.
When I'm able to call them up and say, hey guys, we got that house at Blue Show, in Anaheim. So just that kind of makes everybody's day. So yeah, I do enjoy being the manager and the marketing guy.
And it's it's got to be a lot of extra work on your part. But let me ask you, do you have any apprehensions about bringing in like a manager? The reason I ask is because I would think, great thing about having you as a manager and the guy responsible for all the businesses, you're actually a guy in the band, so it makes sense that you'd be looking out for what's in the best interest of the band, where you'd have a concern maybe if you bring in an outsider, if it's not in the band, he's maybe not necessarily looking out for the band's best interests, although that's what you ultimately want, Do you have any concerns about that?
Yeah, no, of course I have concerns with that. Maybe that's why I don't have a manager yet.
Yeah.
Because, we've kind of contemplated that decision, and, that same thing that you just said came up. Mark and Justin brought up the same thing, and, it's true. I mean, you'd almost have to, be friends with them.
Yeah, to be able to trust them.
Know that you can definitely trust them, because, God forsake, we get the wrong manager, and they end up, giving us some show, and who knows, I don't know, some weird venue that we probably shouldn't even be playing at, and it probably took more to get there than play it, so it's just kind of it is a tough call, I have been pretty happy with managing the band. I think it's been going pretty well.
Yeah,
like I said, we've grown really fast within the last 2 years, so I think I'm doing a good job at it, but like I said, if it's the right manager that we can trust, that we know for sure that we can trust, then I think I would be open to hear what they have to offer.
And sometimes, like they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, you guys pretty much been doing shows locally here in LA and Orange County, or have you had a chance to tour, outside of California yet?
Yeah, we had a really nice show our first year. We played at Vamp in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
And, that was one of our first big shows, and we really enjoyed that place. Really, probably the best sound system in Las Vegas. And obviously, that Danny Coker owns that. He's a really cool guy. His wife Corey is really sweet. So we had a really, really good time playing that venue. And that was really our only out-of-state show so far. And we're looking for some other Vegas shows, and we're probably going to hit Phoenix, possibly like one of those bike runs in Nevada. So there's a lot of plans in the works. We just have to make them all work with our schedule.
And of course, great thing too about being a Scorpions tribute is you can pretty much open for pretty much anybody that's a hard rock metal type of act. There's not too many people I can think of that you couldn't really do a show with.
Well, here's one for you, Jason. We were supposed to open for, believe it or not, Michael Schenker at the M15 in Corona last year.
Wow.
And, the promoter found out, and he's like, there's no way Lovedrive can be on this bill. And we're like, what? What do we do? We love Michael Schenker.
Wow.
So it turns out, as you know, Michael Schenker does Lovedrive, he does Another Piece of Me, and those were all on our set list.
Wow.
So,
wow.
That's funny you should mention that, because, there's no way they wanted us up on that stage that night.
Wow. That's totally small world. But speaking of the Scorpions, well, I guess Michael Schenker would count. But if anybody from the Scorpions camp, or anybody from the band themselves, are you aware of it? They're aware of you guys?
Oh yeah. We actually, my guitarist Justin, he actually was talking back and forth with James, because when he came back from Europe.
Yeah.
And, they were chit-chatting back and forth, and we played a Paladino's gig in Tarzana, and he was actually supposed to show up, but I think something came up with him on his end. He couldn't
make it.
He couldn't get out of the house or something. I don't know what really came up, but we were looking forward to that. We were hoping he was going to show up and play some songs with us. And not only that, we were able to meet, we met Uli John Roth at the NAMM show.
Oh, wow.
It was not this last January, but last year, 2013.
Okay.
We actually had the honor of meeting Uli, and that was awesome. We got to chat a little bit with him, and he asked us the name of the band, and we told him. He kind of chuckled about it. He's like, "Oh, that's an awesome name. That's a really good name."
I mean, again, it's a name everybody who's into the Scorpions will know. So,
exactly.
And let me ask you, as far as your competition, like I've seen a couple other Scorpion tributes, like as far as searching for bands and then online. But like I said, the only other one I'm really aware of out in this area is Blackwood. I was curious, you ever check out the competition or go catch one of their shows, see what they're like?
You know what? We would love to do that, but I got to tell you personally, I don't really watch other
bands.
I don't watch other Scorpions bands videos.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why exactly, but maybe I just want to kind of stay focused with what I'm doing.
Yeah, stay original.
And, I just kind of maybe I don't want to be like kind of swayed by a certain way they're maybe playing the song, maybe if it's correct or not. But I kind of like to stay true with what I'm doing, and just kind of keep within my own band.
Well, that's
yeah, and I think there are as for like other tributes maybe that are in California, we're friends with everybody. We're all in this for the same reason. We're doing it for the passion of the Scorpions, and I wouldn't talk badly or disrespect any other Scorpions tribute band in the area.
I'm glad to hear you. I'm glad to hear you say that because one thing I've experienced with a lot of the tribute bands I've talked to is among the tribute bands, there's almost like a fraternity in that. They're not really necessarily competing with one another, but they help each other out. Like this one guy I know, his name is Garboris. He plays in this Guns N' Roses tribute called Appetite for Destruction. He books.
Right. Yeah, I've seen him.
He books the band. He books all his own shows. So much to the point where he asks other bands, "Hey, I need an opening band. Would you guys like to open, the show we're having next week?" And he actually, when he's not performing, he books shows for other tribute acts, and it's just a great. Or is it like if you're doing an original band? A lot of original bands compete with one another, and that's one thing I really think is cool about the tribute scene. They all seem to try to be, working with one another and helping each other out.
Yeah, that is true. It's almost like a close-knit family.
Yeah, and speaking out here in California, where you and I are from. I don't know if you're aware of Sax's TV show they have called The World's Greatest Tribute. That's almost a pinnacle for a lot of these.
Yeah, we're definitely aware of it. We've actually submitted our material, and we're hoping we're going to get a call from Katie Darrell one of these days.
Well, I hope so, because I think you guys deserve to be on there for no other reason that, like I said, you're one of the few Scorpions tributes out here, and the great thing about that show is. They got everyone, they got all kinds of different tributes. They got guys covering Elton John. They got guys covering Billy Joel. They got guys covering, Rolling Stones and Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath and everything in between. And that's one thing I really enjoy about watching that show when it's on. Every week you're going to get a different taste with some different than the week before.
Exactly. All my band members, we all like chit chat back and forth on Facebook, like, oh yeah, the band's on next. What do you think of that song and so on and so. So yeah, we really appreciate and really do enjoy that show.
And so let me ask.
Hopefully next time I talk to you, we'll be on one of those episodes.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, they're kind of casting for season 5 right now. They're looking for bands.
They are. Yep, and we already have all of our information into them.
Well, I wish you luck.
I know I'm sure there's thousands of bands hitting them up every day.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. People don't realize. Talking about tribute bands, but I mean, you get about 10, maybe 10 or 12 bands, each season that appear on that show. But I mean, there's countless submissions from all, not just all over the U.S., but all over the world.
There is. I agree with that.
And I think just to get picked, those 12 that get picked, they're the ones that really, stand out. So. What do you doing the Scorpions tribute? I was curious. What do you enjoy the most about it?
Well, I've always been I'm kind of like a gig junkie, from just forever, and I always just love knowing that I have a live show coming up. I look forward to it when I'm at work or whatever the heck I'm doing, and I'm like, I can't wait to get on that stage and just kick some butt, and that's what I look forward to, just being in a band.
And are you guys
performing for people and seeing the look on the people's face when they're just totally rocking out or just giving up, the horns to us. It's like, yeah, you know what, we're doing something right, and these guys are having fun, and we're having fun as well.
And you guys, yeah.
Off the crowd.
And are you guys at the point right now where you're pretty much headlining all your gigs, or do you still open for other bands as well?
You know, we've been headlining our local gigs. We are gonna do some national act support, which we've done already in the past. We've opened for Gilby Clarke. We've opened for the Lynch Mob. And there's Jack Russell's Great White. And but right now, as for the House of Blues gigs coming up, we'll actually be opening up for some of these bands, these other tribute bands.
Oh, can you tell us about that gig? Do you know when it's coming up and who have other bands on the bill?
Well, right now we're waiting for confirmation because Live Nation has like a
okay.
Big old red tape list. So
I hear you.
We're supposed to be playing with Dia, which is a female Dio tribute.
Okay.
And they're really amazing. We're gonna probably try to head it as like a females of rock type of a House of Blues.
Oh, cool.
Showcase.
And that's in Anaheim. Yeah. They have from time to time metal tribute night, and I've been to a couple of those. Those are pretty cool. Now, let me ask you. It's all great as far as gigging, but do you have a preference as far as like opening for a national act or doing your own show with other tribute acts? Because again, when you're doing shows with other tribute acts, you kind of got your built-in audience. But like opening for a Gilby Clarke or a Lynch Mob, that's kind of a totally different fan base than what you're probably typically used to.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. We always try to obviously book with some other bands that are the same genre or the same style of music. We've, like in the past, I actually put a show on locally. I had Tribute to Priest, which is Diamonds and Rust, and I've had, they used to be called Dio Forever, they're now called The Final Spine. So we had Scorps, Dio, and Priest. So to me, that was like a all-star lineup right there. That was like a Monsters of Rock lineup. So yeah, if you would have put in like a Beastie Boys tribute or something, I obviously would not take that bill. I would probably just pass on that show.
Yeah, and so
I'm not saying they're not a good band. Yeah. It's just not at all the same genre, or it wouldn't be the same fan base.
Yeah, so let me ask you, like, when you guys do your own headlining shows, how long do you play on stage for typically? Is it like 90 minutes, an hour?
Yeah, I normally give, I'll have a couple opening bands for us. I give them about maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and we'll play about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Believe it or not, for a tribute band, we have like about, 46 songs that are kind of in our heads.
Yeah,
we can kind of play it in any given time.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so we pretty much, when we headline it, we pretty much do about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean that's what most people get going to any type of concert. And the cool thing about that, like again, talking about the Scorpions, I mean that doesn't surprise me when you consider the fact that the Scorpions themselves, they've been doing this for 40 plus years. So you got that much material to draw from.
That's right. You have endless material right there.
Yeah. And now, of course, you guys are Scorpions fans yourselves, and you're, like I said, you're kind of a guy that jumped up, from the audience onto the stage, and you're now playing this music. But as guys that play the music, do you ever get tired, of playing "Rock You Like a Hurricane" for the millionth time, or do you love it every time? You know what I mean?
Actually, I do love it. I every single time, I'm not thinking to myself, "Oh crap, we got to play Rock You Like a Hurricane." Yeah. I honestly do enjoy playing it every single time. And what the weird thing is, even when I'm in my car going to work or whatever, I'm always cranking up the Scorpions. So I'm like totally scorped out in my head. I just love all their songs. I mean, I'm listening to everything from Lonesome Crow all the way to their Sting of the Tail. So
wow.
Yeah. A lot of guys that I know that are also tributes to other bands, they don't really listen to their tribute band or their choice band all the time like I do.
And let me ask you, as far as rehearsing goes, are you guys at the point that you've been doing this long enough where you can pretty much hit the stage and be able to play these songs note for note, or do you still have to rehearse from time to time before you have each gig?
Yes, we are at the point where we can actually go from say weekend to weekend. But when we do have the downtime of not having a gig on any weekend, we actually still like to get together and just stay tight because we're that band that likes to just sound perfect every time we play live. But I know there's a lot of bands out there that just don't practice at all. And you know what? A lot of the times they don't need to. But just being conscious of our, you know, our motor skills and our, you know, our what do they call it, the brain memory?
Yeah.
You know, muscle memory. We just kind of like to keep up on our songs just for the hell of it, just to stay tight, just to be that tight band that you want to see live.
And then on that note, I got to ask you, even you know, today talking to you, you know, when you do go and rehearse, or even when you were putting the band together, did you guys ever put on like any like mock shows when you're rehearsing, where you maybe videotape a band, or even record the band playing and then go back and either watch a video or listen to the audio?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we don't do any kind of video. We pretty much just, you know, throw our phones down or recorder, and just go ahead and record what we've done, and so that way we can just listen to it the next day and just be like, oh hey, you know, shit, we messed up on that riff over there, or you know, that arrangement, that ending was wrong. But yeah, we definitely do. We don't do it all the time. We've come to a point now where we pretty much know what we need to play. But if we're working on some new songs, like I said, we're working on Send Me an Angel. We're also working on Wild Child at the moment. And what was the other one? I can't think of it.
That's all right. That's all right.
Another really good one that we have to throw on our set list.
And then, you know, there are a couple of these other tribute bands. I mean, like even take a band like the Iron Maidens, who are an all female tribute. I seen when I go to their show, they have, besides T-shirts, they have merchandise. They sell like DVDs and audio recordings they've done and stuff. You guys ever consider doing that, or would you rather just give people the opportunity to come and experience you live?
No, we would definitely want to do that, and we do have like an online store. It's something that just does like one-off shirts, so we don't have to like buy like 100 shirts and and kind of sit on them for our next show. We do have that online marketing merchandise, but we don't really have that surplus at the moment. But we would love to do that. We want to set up our own booth. We want to have some posters, and I've got some pics that are on their way. You know, just to kind of give little handout gifts and stuff like that. Yeah, that's definitely something that we're looking to do a little bit more seriously. And as for the Iron Maidens, they're just a phenomenal band. We actually we were able to play with them. We opened up for them in Chino Hills. I want to say it was like 5 or 6 months ago.
And what was that like?
That was quite a show. Yeah, it was a really good combination.
I was going to ask you because, you know, typically,
that was one of our memorable shows.
I was going to ask you because typically you'd think maybe, you know, like Scorpions and Iron Maiden, because I mean they're both like kind of metal bands, but Scorpions aren't maybe as full blown on metal as Iron Maiden. So that's kind of interesting that you know, the show, you know, both group of fans were so accepted. But I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, it was a really good time. I think it was actually on June 21st when that show was. I just have a picture here.
Yeah, and the thing about the Iron Maidens, I mean, when you talk about successful tribute bands, they're one of the premier ones, because they've been doing it since the early 90s out here in Hollywood. And forget for a minute about them being all female tribute. I mean, if anybody has seen that band, they just they got the full blown on talent in the band. I mean, and that chick, the lead singer, she sounds every bit. She can hit all those high notes every bit as much as Bruce Dickinson or Rob Halford.
We actually met her and we saw her at one of the Axis tapings for the World's Greatest Tribute Band tapings. That's when it was at the Key Club. And man, we were just blown away. I mean, she has the same exact tone as Bruce Dickinson, which is crazy.
Yeah, and you want to talk about successful tribute bands? They're one of the bands to kind of follow their career path, because again, you know, they got started out here in LA in the early 90s, and they've taken their band worldwide. You know, they've done shows in Mexico, I think, and
they've hit Mexico. They've been all over the world.
Germany,
I think they've been in Europe already.
Yeah, I think so.
They should be.
Yeah, and so you know, that's to me that's the ultimate you know, tribute band right there. Somebody that's been able to take it.
They really are. Those girls are probably the most. Yeah, I would say they're the ultimate right now for Iron Maiden, definitely.
Yeah, and so you know, when we talk about the merchandise, what I was kind of asking about is I've seen some of these tribute bands where they will go in and they will record like a CD worth of material, like in your case, like say Scorpions material. But then of course you got to deal with the licensing to be able to release that. If that's something a project like that you'd ever want to entertain something like that, or would you just rather people come and see you perform the music live?
Yeah, number one on our list is just have the people come out and enjoy the music and just leave it saying, "Holy shit, we can't wait till these guys play again."
Yeah.
That would be the merchandise is obviously like a secondary thing with us because if it was that important, we probably already have like mass T-shirts and stuff like that going on right now.
And so,
but, I guess it's just to do with the venues because some venues you can sell them. I believe House of Blues you can set up your own little merch area. Some other venues that we've played at, there's really no area for that at all,
Yeah.
So, no, but it is something, like I said, I'm also a graphic designer, so I have a lot of cool Lovedrive shirt designs that I've already made. It's just a matter of getting them mass produced and getting that out there.
Merchandise is one source of revenue, but like typically, how do tribute bands make your money? I mean, because I imagine when you do these gigs, do the places where you're playing, do they pay the band the money? Do they get a piece of ticket sales? How does that all work?
Yeah, lately the shows I've been putting on is whatever bands I have open for us, and it's just a scenario. I go ahead and take the door profit, which is like normally like $5 or $10 at the door.
Okay.
And we go ahead and just divvy that up. Like say there's 3 bands, so we just go ahead and just split it right down the middle and into a third. So.
That's kind
of the way we're doing it, and I know that a lot of the House of Blues shows, you're not really making much at all, but it's just mostly for being there on their stage, and just living that experience of being there. Well, that's a nice big crowd that everybody wants.
Well, that's
doing the tribute scene right now.
That's good at least because I've talked to other bands that like even a lot of these tribute bands that play places like the Whiskey and that in Hollywood. In places like that, they got what's called pay to play, where a lot of these bands they'll give them all these tickets to give out to all their fans and everybody for free. But then you got to guarantee, in order to get paid or to be able to play that place again, that you're going to be able to pack the house. And if
that's exactly right. Yeah, and it's a shame that still goes on. That's been around since since I can remember. Just the good old Hollywood Strip pay to play scene. Yeah. So yeah, it's really that's back to the promoters and the venues, and it's just a matter of like, there are some really good promoters out there that are music fans and they promote and manage for the band because they love music. But unfortunately, there are those other ones that are just out just to collect their ticket sales. So that's where the bands falter right there. We're out there bringing a bunch of people in for these people, and all of a sudden, where's our reward for doing that? It's nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
it's just too bad it's got to be like that.
And so let me ask you, Jeff. Like, this is probably a hard question to answer, but as far as you being up on stage and playing the drums and performing these songs, is there one time during the show or like one song that you really get off playing?
Yeah, that would be Alienation.
Oh, okay.
And it's got such a great intro and really cool drum patterns on it, and just really, really fun to see the crowd rocking back and forth with it. It's not a fast song. You probably know the song.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a laid back, but it's really heavy and laid back and drivey, and that's just really, it's just it's a blast for everybody. It kind of lets everybody breathe and still be solid and tight when we're playing it, and just rock it out with it. I also enjoy the zoo because that gets everybody going.
Oh yeah.
In the venue, everybody's pretty much if they don't know how to dance, well, they're learning how to dance right there when they're playing the zoo.
Yeah,
so that's just another really fun one that I personally love to do.
And I think you're
I
mentioning.
guess the third one would be Another Piece of Meat. That's just a really quick hard driving song, and the crowd just goes crazy with that one as well.
Wow. And now let me ask you, like, when you play something like Alienation, where maybe it's one of those songs that's not as well known as like Big City Nights or Rock You Like a Hurricane, that's got to be a great feeling in a sense. Another thing, tribute bands like you guys, I think, help to do is like when you're playing Alienation, in this case, a lot of people are kind of in the audience like, hey, I haven't heard that song before. What is that? And you have the ability, you and your band, to kind of turn people on to the music, these Scorpion songs that aren't as well known, but that you dig, and that's got to be a great feeling. Like, hey,
it really is. I mean, they would actually come up and say, "Oh my God, that was killer!" What album was that from? In a way, we're kind of helping the Scorps out because we're turning, like you just said, we're turning them on to maybe purchasing that CD. You know, and
Yeah.
that is a really good feeling.
And the last thing I'd want to ask before I let you go, Jeff, is being that you guys are a tribute band, and these are kind of songs that are written and recorded originally by other people. When you go into the clubs and that, is there any kind of licensing fee that you guys got to pay to anybody to be able to perform this material live?
No, not at all.
Oh, that's a great thing.
As long as we're not, recording our concert or our show and reselling it online, I don't believe there's any kind of issues like that at all. I haven't heard anything to this day, and I know a lot of my friends are in other tribute bands, so I have not heard that. So I don't believe that's an issue.
Okay. Again, it's just a question popped in my head because I've heard different things, but that's great to know. And anyways, Jeff, it's been great talking to you, and I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to do this. You guys have been listening to Under the Influence, and the interview will go up, like I said, Jeff, in probably maybe a week or two, a minute. It does. I'll be sure to let you know, and you can let all your friends and fans know, because probably like with the band Lovedrive, things are kind of winding down here. It's getting towards the end of the year.
Right.
So you guys are pretty much same thing. You're pretty much done for the year until next year. You have more shows coming up.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we have a full schedule that I'm going to be posting in the next couple weeks for 2015.
Well, Jeff, I'll stay in touch with you too, and when you guys have a show coming up, next time in the area, I'll be sure to come check you guys out and say hi.
Sounds good, Jason.
So take care, my friend, and thanks so much for doing this.
All right, man. You too. I appreciate everything you're doing for us.
Okay, take care, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
All right, you too. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll talk to you later, Jason.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks so much.
All right, take care.